Hi Leo, let's have a look at your astrology and tarot for this new moon coming in Aquarius. So this new moon is happening on the 21st of January for New Zealand and Australia, and the 22nd for the rest of the world. This new moon is an interesting new moon. It's conjuncting Pluto. Now, as you can see, new moon is sitting here at 3 degrees of Aquarius, and Pluto is sitting up there in the last degrees of Capricorn. So with this conjunction, it's quite a powerful new moon in the sense that this is a time when we are going to be looking at our own personal power. It's also a time when we are going to be, being able to make the changes and moving forward into new directions. It's actually a very productive month for many, and you have Leo, you have the sun moon position. So the sun moon is, of course, the new moon is when the sun and the moon join together. The sun is the physical body, and the moon is the emotional body, or the sun is the spirit, and the moon is the soul. So when those two come together, this is a time when we are looking at the balance that we have between our physical and our emotional bodies, and we're looking at any areas of growth that we're wanting. It's also a time when the astrology imprints the whole energy for the month, which is why I look at the new moon when it's exact. I look at the chart because it really colours the energy for the month ahead. So this reading I'm doing is for new moon to new moon, which is for the 20th, 21st of this month to up to the 19th, 20th next month. So yes, currently you have the sun moon in that 7th sector. Now your 7th sector is actually all about your relationships, your partnerships, and so that's going to be your prime focus for Leo with the sun moon in Aquarius. It's your opposite point, and the opposite point is always going to be to your sun. It's always going to be Aquarius. So whenever the sun's in Aquarius, yes, the sun's sitting in your 7th sector. So this time of year is an important time for relationships for you. Now, with Pluto, which has been sitting in your 6th house for a very long time now, for years actually, it's sitting at the end of the 6th sector. And what that would have been doing during this time is completely transforming your either your work life or your home life with regards to what you do on a daily basis, because the 6th sector is your work, your day-to-day routine, and or if you don't go to work, it's what you do on a daily basis. So Pluto's been there, and like I said, that's been transforming that. And there'll be certain times when Pluto gets triggered, which is generally when the sun moon connect, or Mercury, or any of the inner planets connect. So with the emphasis on this Pluto energy sitting there in your 6th, a time of where you have been going through this whole changes out of your control, possibly with regards to your work and your routine. Now you're going to be stepping into a time where you can take your power back more, because you're coming out of, we've still got 2 more years of Pluto in that 6, but it's been there for such a long time that these last 2 years are going to be where you start to reap the rewards of the transformational process you have been through. So when the sun moon hits that, this can bring up any issues relative to, taking back your personal power. So power struggles with the sun Pluto combination is quite common, but it's also about stepping into changes and stepping up into your own personal power. The moon Pluto combinations are at a more deeper emotional level, being the moon, and it can create sort of an impulse actions or reactions and emotional outbursts at times of one or more negative, but it's when we have this extreme expression of feeling, for the positive or the negative. So it can be feeling extremely passionate about a certain objective or a certain goal, or we can be feeling quite emotionally upset through more of the ego issues, relative to personal insults or being offended, or issues of jealousy. So Moon Pluto can be any of those things, but Moon Pluto there, it's a time when we are feeling compelled towards a certain area. It's a time when we can do lots of deep research work. It's also a time when we can feel really clear with our psyche, especially if we spend time alone or time just doing things by ourselves. Moon Pluto is sort of like the artist. or the researcher, or whatever. It's like thorough work that just takes extreme focus and to be left alone, like the writer or the artist. So this does bring up extreme feelings. And not only do we have the Sun, Moon connecting to Pluto, which is your 6th and 7th house, which relates to your partnerships and your career and any personal changes that are going on around that, we also have a square to the node. And the nodes represent your connections, your friendships, your associations. So we could be talking about family, we could be talking about partners, or we could be talking about friendships or work associations. But the node often is about the close contact people that we have. And this is sitting in your 10th connection, your 10th sector, which is all about your career direction. It's all about your focus on where you want to be, what goals you have for the future. And, when I say career direction, it's not always career, but quite often that can be where we want to extend to, or where we want to rise to the top, or where we see ourselves in the future. So that's sitting in your 10th sector, and you also have the South Node, or you have the South Node sitting in your 4th sector. Your 4th sector is your home environment, which means for Leo, you're around the people that you, have very deep bonds with, and most likely in your home situation, you find you're around those that you've felt a very deep past life connection. And if you're not feeling that, there could be new connections coming into your life that are going to be, very secure for your future, especially for living together with the node in that 4th sector. So we have Sun, Moon, Pluto, then it's squaring the node. So we've got all this Pluto node, Sun node, Moon node. Now Sun node is our family and our, sort of also when we project ourselves out into the environment, so it's sort of like a public situation or being out in the public eye. The Moon node is all about our inner connections, our soul family. So meaning those that we feel that inner supreme expression of feeling, if you like, for another person. So Pluto's there. Pluto is fated connection. So what we've got going on with those combinations of those 4, even 5 with the South Node, is fated connections that are coming in, but they're coming in sort of relative to your work and your direction and your career, and also could even have something to do with your partner. Okay, so your partner, because it's sitting in the placement of your partnerships, it might be that there's some fated changes going on in a partner, in your partner's career or work, which will be, of course, contributing to the home situation. But it's sort of more personal to you sitting in that 6th sector, Pluto there. So I really feel that this, whatever changes are going about, whether it's for you or partner, it's going to mean that your daily routine is going to change. And if you're sick of your daily routine with Pluto that's been sitting there for so long, I guarantee you this is all changing. You are changing your attitude towards what that can be. And you're going to get the opportunity to make some changes or come up with new ideas for change if you're unsatisfied with your circumstances relative to work or, like I said, or not having enough work. So with this new moon that's happening on the 21st, we have a Mercury. Mercury is actually sitting in your 6th sector, and now that is sitting, Mercury has been going retrograde for the last 3 weeks. It's going to go direct in 2 days. Now, the day it goes direct doesn't mean that's a day when everything falls into place and it goes, things work perfectly. This is a day when it's sort of not moving at all. But we have a whole week where it just doesn't move. That's called stationary motion. And that stationary motion is sort of when, we feel, the effects of retrograde, Mercury retrograde, more so at the beginning and at the end when it's not moving. Now, the good thing is that we've got a Mercury square Jupiter on this stationary moment, which means that we get a really long, spread out Mercury Jupiter. We have it going on for a week, but effectively, 2 weeks, because Mercury is just sitting sort of at the same degree of 8 degrees. So with this Mercury Jupiter, what that means, it's sitting in your 6th house, your house of work, and it's Jupiter sitting in your 9th sector. Sorry, when I say house, I mean sector. Your 9th sector of your future direction. It means that you can really either come up with your own ideas on how you're going to change your working situation with Pluto that's been there, sort of making you feel like you haven't had that control. But with Mercury Jupiter, this is a time when you can either ask for a pay rise, or you can actually, address some paperwork. could look at studies at that time. You could find that you're getting excellent results with any studies. But it's really fortunate for any communications that you have, and especially with bosses or people in your daily routine, and any communications that you have for forward movement, because whether that's communicating or whether that's literature, whether you're signing documents or you're working through legal paperwork, it's all for productive growth. There could be purchasing of property, there could be negotiating of deals, there could be signing contracts. It's all to do with your productive growth for the future. So that's sort of really important from around the 18th to the 24th. Now, while we have this, during this new moon, around the 21st, 22nd, Uranus, which has been going backwards, retrograde, is actually moving into its direct motion on the 22nd. So that sort of highlights Uranus as having Uranus having a potent energy for this time. Uranus isn't making any aspects in this particular astrology for the new moon, but the fact that it's just doing this, about to go forward and sitting still, it's highlighted. So it's sort of saying that there can be an air or an energy of expect the unexpected during this time, and this can bring out changes quite quickly. Now, for you, you've had Uranus sitting in the 10th. Now, the 10th again is your place of your direction, where you want to be. Uranus and Node both been sitting in this placement. Your 10th sector is the position of Taurus, where Uranus and Node sit. So with that, you've been, it would have meant that you would have been changing some of your ideas around what you wanted to do, or what your goals are. Could be subjected to change, or to sudden events changing, or even to connections with people changing your career direction or your future plans. So this is going to be really obvious to you around the 2nd of February, when the Sun conjuncts Uranus, because you've got it sitting in this, you've got the 7th and the 10th houses being activated again, and this is again, to do with bringing in partnerships. If you're wanting partnerships for the future, like business partnerships, this would be really productive. Or if you're wanting to make changes in your own personal relationships, and you're actually wanting to go in a different direction, partner will be very keen to do that with you, if that's what you're wanting. We're not talking about separation here. We're talking about looking at more serious commitment. You do have Venus conjunct Saturn. We all have Venus conjunct Saturn right now. Leo happens to have it in the 7th sector, the sector of relationships. So Venus Saturn is when you take a hard look at your finances and you take a hard look at your relationships, and you look at what commitment you're what commitment you're prepared to make within those, or what you're prepared to let go of. So again, you've got this double dose to do with partnerships and and feeling this responsibility. So it's an aspect that's very powerful for the new moon. It wouldn't be normally lasting this long, but because it is in the imprinted into this new moon energy, it's sort of going to be lasting for the whole month. The theme of let's take a more serious look at relationships. If there are relationships that aren't working out, then you'll probably think that's it, I'm over it. But I think otherwise, if there's been things that you've had to go through and struggles, you're going to find you come out the other end where you're feeling a lot more loyalty and understanding for each other. So the other great thing you have going on is Mercury will be conjuncting Pluto. So Pluto is sitting there in your 6th sector, your sector of work and daily routine, and it's like it's been pulling and pushing you in different directions over the years. And you may feel like you haven't had control in your own environment, in your daily routine, in your work environment, or even in the home situation if it's been where you've been working from. Once you get Mercury there, Mercury brings out really it sort of brings out ideas that are transformative, and it's also like you come up with something that's sort of quite profound, and in the sense of what your ideas, what you're wanting to achieve, but you're going to be really good at impressing it onto others at that time. So there's going to be some very important news come out, which is going to be quite transformative around the 6th of February for Leo. So let's have a look at your tarot for this next 4 to 5 weeks for Leo. And I'm just going to ask, what does the universe want Leo to know about? Well, you're in a fast-moving time, actually, Leo, and there will be some discussions about changes with partner, like I said. Let's have a look. Okay, there's some things here that haven't been quite working out for Leo. I feel like they've been feeling quite disencouraged, actually, lately. But, you know, this has allowed you to go to do more inner work and inner search and really assess what is important and what isn't important, what is ego and what isn't ego. This is a Leo lesson. We are the lessons of our sun sign. So if you're sun sign Leo, because, of course, Leo ascendants and moon signs will be watching this as well. But if you're sun sign Leo, you know, our sun sign is actually the lessons that we come through to master, to learn, to grow with. And once we've done that, then we can get to the next one. And for Leo, it's all about allowing yourself to shine, not letting anyone hold you back. You know, Leo's a very positive force. They're great at manifesting. You know, they're very likable. They do like to also be and you know, get out and do things and socialize, because that allows them to shine. But it feels like Leo's been not feeling that. You've been not feeling sociable. You've been feeling like just shutting yourself away. And, you know, but during this time, you've been doing more of an inner search. And that's been actually a really good thing for Leo to do, because, like I said, the lesson relative to the ego, which is where I was going before, is like understanding that projections of what people are feeling when they project onto others has actually got nothing to do with us. And it never has had anything to do with us. It's just human nature to when we've got accumulation of these not so pleasant or negative feelings, we tend to project that on. And of course, you know, everyone is going to be sensitive to this, so we sort of need to see it for what it really is, and to see that this person is actually in pain, and the reason they project this stuff onto you is because of their own pain. So whatever they're describing, you know, that you are, or saying that you are, if it's criticism or you know, yeah, criticism is not a good one for Leo, you know, then it's like that's actually how they feel about themselves. They're highly critical of themselves. So stop allowing their projection onto you. See with more empathetic eyes how hard it must be to be that person that is feeling these complexities and needs to project these things they're saying onto you. So change that word of you to I when they're saying it, because this is actually how they're feeling about themselves, and that they've been feeling for a long time to project on. And I'm only saying that because I can see Leo's here feeling hurt by words, and we all get hurt by words. But I think with Leo, they take it quite personally, and then they really take it like everything they do for that person. They're givers, they're sharers, you know, they just want to interact and shine. And if people aren't seeing their light, it's not pleasant for Leo. So, you know, like I said, this is just a reflection of what they're feeling. Empathy is actually the key to understanding that. They would say that to anybody. It's nothing to do with you. They just say it to whoever's closest to them that they can get away with it with. So take it on the chin, Leo. Okay, Leo, you have some very good news. I think another thing that's been bothering you, Leo, is you've been feeling like with the relationship or partnership situations, that they haven't been on board with you with something that you're wanting to move forward with, and you feel like it's been a little bit of they've been a little bit resistant to it. And because Leos are very good at considering others, you know, they would be going, oh no, that's fair enough. But there seems to be something here that you're wanting and partners aren't going to be agreeable with, and you're going to go, yahoo, let's move forward. So I've got this agreement here to move forward into a certain direction. Now, you may or may not know what I'm talking about here. This could be something that comes in quickly, or it could be something that you've been arguing about for a period of time. It's not really saying, it's just saying something new is going to come in. And it doesn't matter if a partner's been resistant in the past, they're going to go, yes, this is perfect, because the situation is perfect and the timing is perfect. Cards are saying that timing wasn't right before. There was more inner work you were doing, more strength you were gaining in your own personal way of keeping your own ground, knowing who you are. As long as you know who you are, nobody can affect your own energy. So you have an opportunity coming to you, Leo, through others. It's an opportunity that's going to lift you up and bring you to the position that you're really wanting. So very good news for Leo, especially those in business or those that are in their own career. and they've been feeling like they've been struggling. When I say business, I mean, it could just be something small. It's just a small situation, or it could be a bigger situation. Leos can do both. But, it's sort of saying, for Leo, I'm seeing that they want to be in charge of their circumstances. They don't need to be in charge of a huge business. They just want to be in charge of creating their own circumstances because they're the most creative energy. And but for Leo, you're going to get some ingenuitive ideas relative to health, healing, and helping others. You're going to be looking at a more humanitarian way of how you can reach out to others. So, because Leo is a very generous sign, they're always helping others. When we're helping those we're close to, sometimes we just don't get the appreciation that we feel deserve. Another thing that Leo doesn't handle very well. We all like to feel appreciated, believe me. But the thing is, because Leo does that a little bit extra, they would like that appreciation, and I think that's fair enough. But it's like, again, how can I work on a bigger scale, or how can I use my energy and make a difference on a scale where I can help others that can be helped rather than the people that are close to me that aren't allowing my help, if that makes sense. So for Leo, you've got this expansion coming up on more of what you can do. If you're not already in your own thing and in control of your own situation, you will be thinking about that, absolutely, and I think you'll make the steps to do that. Plus, you've got these opportunities to step more into the position that you're wanting. So, I mean, I could be talking about management. I know it doesn't mean you have to have, might be running everything. That may be not your thing, but I feel like you're going to simplify your life where you want life to be easy. You want to have, of course, Leo likes to have fun in their leisure time. But it's also about feeling like the work that you do give out is going to be of a real quality that's going to be of great assistance in helping others. And when I say others, it also includes animals, it includes environments. It doesn't have to be people. Not everyone's a people person. Some people are here to, make changes within, to do with this earth. Some are here to help the animals, and some are here to help humanity. It's all relevant, and it all helps us. Regardless, animals are here to help us as well. So if you're helping the animals, you're helping us. So it's all relative, is what I'm saying here. But what I'm saying is something could come to you in an ingenious way, in a way of just a sudden inspiration, and also a sudden opportunity can come to you as well. So this is an excellent time for Leo. It's also a really good time for relationships, soul understandings. I feel like anywhere where there has been, sort of conflicting situations, you are coming out of that now. So February looks like a great month for that. Even with your Venus Sun Saturn conjunction and the 7th sector, it looks like this is just going to strengthen what you already have, and could even bring in committed connections, because there's a lot to do with soul connections here for your future, but also what you can do and create together in the future. So I think some Leos may have been thinking about moving on. And if you've been in that place of, I don't know if I'm in the right place, whether I should be in this relationship or whether I should be here, all this is going to come clear in that first week of February, like I said, with that Venus conjunct Saturn. That's when these feelings are going to come up to the surface, and then when they're going to leave. So you're not going to have that feeling anymore, so you're not going to have to feel like you have to address it anymore. And if the relationship, or if there's anything you are meant to leave behind, Leo, that will happen naturally, and it will happen with ease, because if any situations have been too disappointing and you're needing to do a little bit of a separation, and this could even include family members, because we've got the 6 of Cups here, which relates to our soul connections, but also our family, that if you're needing to sort of go your own ways, it's actually going to work out. It's like everyone's agreeable. So whatever changes come about, it's going to sort out any situations you're worried about. I can't see Leo's got any worries here, really. I think Leo needs to protect their energy psychically, because when they're out in the environment, they can feel quite drained quite easily. So remember to always utilize protection. It's like a bubble of light, a ball of light, a sphere of light, Archangel Michael, God, whatever you want to call it. Put protection around yourself before you go into certain environments, because for some reason your energy is a bit more highly sensitive than normal, as well as you're a very compassionate sign. You're a very feeling sign, so you actually feel empathy and understanding for a lot. And that sort of allows energy to come in too. So again, protection is a great thing to do before you enter out into the world. But like I said, any areas where you felt disappointed, a lot of that you can process, because a lot of this comes through the mind, and a lot of it can be resolved through the mind. But any other areas where there's been this real conflict situation, sort of feel like that's been in the past. That's not even showing now. It's just like, don't worry about that. Let it go now, because it's not going to continue on. So I hope you enjoyed that, Leo, and have a great day. Bye.